Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Oscar BEVIS, IFL TV, MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Dean Whyte via Zoom, who's on the move at the moment. How are we, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. To get me.
You look so happy. What's up? You look buzzing.
How you saying? Is that on me? All is good. All is well. All is well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about last night. You was there. Just how good was it to have fans back, by the way? Because it was brilliant watching it on the TV, but being there, it must have been unreal.
Yeah. You know what? The atmosphere was very, very good. You know, and when Joshua came out, I mean, it kind of reminisced of the old times. You know, of where boxing used to be. You know what I mean? And maybe what we took for granted. You know, them 25,000, 100,000. 60,000 arenas and stuff. Had to suffice with 1,000, but they made it, I mean, spine tingling, you know. It was epic in there. I think, you know, just being in there, because obviously this year has been such a weird, indifferent year, no crowds and stuff like that. Yeah, it was good, man. And you know, the fans was in there, they made themselves known. They sang, you know, it was really good just to be in there. I'm not gonna lie, just to be part of that first group of people when the crowds came back, just that small 1,000. It was really good.
And obviously, there's a couple of stars come out as well. Dillian turned up, Floyd even turned up as well. And I bet for Dillian, like, that gets it going for the Povetkin rematch, doesn't it? Knowing he's going to have that same sort of atmosphere. Early 2020.
Yeah, listen, man, you got Floyd Money Mayweather, man. That guy was blinging in there yesterday. Listen, I don't know what kind of diamonds he's got and what kind of jewelry he's got. But his diamonds was bouncing. He was literally to the left of me where he was. And yeah, I knew a couple of the people that was with him anyway as well. But yeah, no, like the short man, he's very, very small. I've seen him before, but you know, when you see someone actually close up, he's even smaller in person. But I mean, yeah, listen, Dillian's raring to go. You know, I think he done a few interviews yesterday, and I think he kind of alluded that there's a few obstacles that are in the way, and it's not a foregone conclusion yet with what date that he's going to be out with Povetkin, and it's possibly that it might even, you know, be someone else if it's delayed any longer. So yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens there. But back to yesterday when you're talking about Mayweather and his team, and it was nice that he was in the arena. You saw him talking and trying to give advice to Anthony Joshua, and it was good. It was good to see, you know, like the former and the current, you know, guy, you know, heavyweight champ UK, Floyd Money Mayweather do this thing, and you know, and them kind of coming together and trying to, you know, do something. It was kind of good. It was kind of nice just being that close to all of that. You know, like normally when you watch that, you watch it like when I watched it when Gervonta Davis fought Santa Cruz, and he was doing the same thing. He was shouting it from the corner and saying, "Hey, do this, do that," and it was literally the same thing there from ringside. He was doing the same thing. So it was nice being around that, and it was kind of indifferent again. You're thinking, you know, this is someone you grew up watching, and you know, they're right there, literally shouting and saying something to someone from the UK and supporting them so vigorously.
Josh's performance, impressed or not?
Do you know what? I feel like the performance was indifferent. That's the words I'll use, because I feel like somewhat maybe boxing with handbrakes on a little bit. Maybe he was trying a few different things in there. Maybe his brain was somewhat on, like with Tyson Fury down the line. So sometimes you got to box and get the job done. There's many thoughts I've had. I don't know which is what it is, because look, he was using his jab, he was going to the body, going to the head, and then there was patches where we weren't really doing much work, and he was feinting a lot and then stepping off and stuff like that. So, I get though, like obviously he let his shot selection go. He rocked Pulev. Credit to Pulev as well though, because Pulev, listen, he took a battering. Even though in the third round he turned his back, and I thought he was literally done at that moment there. There was a couple of times where he turned his back. I've not really seen that much in the elite boxing, you know what I mean? Someone does that. He took some real bitch licks, but so I don't know, like he was I don't know. But look, at the end of the day, Joshua had a year off. I mean, for someone who's had a year off, he still looked good. His jab was good to a degree. But yeah, again, I felt like maybe he was looking at the bigger shot, getting the job done, and not trying to take and not leave anything to chance, really. And then, like when you look at what happened in the Ruiz fight, maybe that's still lingering in his mind. I don't know. But I felt like he did okay. I felt like he did good. But then obviously there was a little bit of, like he stepped on the gas a few times, let his hands go. He was hitting him with some good uppercuts. And then he stepped off when he didn't really get, you could see that there was still a little bit of life left in that old dog in Pulev, which is the right thing to do. You don't want to empty the gas tank and then you're in there trying to survive and you're tired, you know what I mean? So, I mean, look, it's a great win for him anyway. Listen, coming off, he's got one of his mandatories out the way. So now he's in a position to look at the table and see what's available for him. But, the WBO, I'm sure they've given him enough opportunities to take in the rematch, there was the unification, well, he lost, and then he done the rematch with Andy Ruiz, and then now he's done the Pulev fight. So potentially, I don't see them giving him too much chances and saying Usyk's gonna step aside to let him fight Tyson Fury. For me, looking at it, there's a big possibility that he might have to relinquish that belt if he wants to, try and make history and make that big money fight with Tyson Fury.
Does that bother you as a boxing fan at all? I mean, it's down as like the undisputed fight as well as, the biggest fight in British boxing history. But if we take away one of the belts, does that really take any shine off the fight between Joshua and Fury at all for you?
I think for him, like he said yesterday, it's about he wants to fight for all the belts, the undisputed. Obviously, to a degree, it would, take a tiny bit off of it. But then at the same time, look, he gets to fight an all UK dust up. You still could probably call it a undisputed of sorts. But then you'd find out who is the number one out of these guys, and I'm sure many people, because everyone's talking about, Joshua, Fury, who is the best. Many people have AJ, many people have Fury. So it would literally be, that these guys would get their opportunity to go in there and prove, people's thoughts or speculations one way or the other. So, I mean, those guys, if they have a fight, they're gonna have a rematch, and then if one wins one wins the other, then they'd probably have a trilogy. It's gonna be a long old event, But yeah, again, saying that, Tyson Fury has actually still got a trilogy with Deontay Wilder, so I think we're looking past that also. But I mean, it's a great fight, and I'm sure the UK boxing fans will be jumping at the bits to want to see something like that. But yeah, again, you'd want to do that with crowd. You'd want to do that at Wembley with 100,000 people. But we had 1,000 in attendance at Wembley last night. I can't see anytime soon that they'll be opening up the doors and talking about 100,000 people in an arena while they keep screaming about COVID-19. And I got a feeling it'll be a long way off, unless they've done it in somewhere like maybe Vegas. But then yet again, they don't have a capacity to hold something like that. But I mean, still big money in Vegas. You'll be able to get the money. I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean. It feels like hurdles have been crossed, but there's still more barriers in the way. So, look, who knows? We're getting closer. The contrast. So some people have been really impressed, and know Tyson didn't seem too impressed. I don't think Dillian, when he spoke to Coogan, didn't seem too impressed. Are they just being the awkward heavyweight rivals, do you think? Or do you think in their boots they're looking and they've gone, maybe we're not as impressed as everyone else?
You know, listen, everyone's got their bit to say. You know, listen, these guys are rival. You're never gonna really hear them, you know, singing the hymn sheet and praises of their rivals. You know, even look, when we go back as far as Swartz, you know, people was, talking about Tyson Fury, like, who the hell is this guy for? Where did he dig this? What grave did he dig this guy up from? You know, that kind of thing. And then when Otto Wallen fought him and he went a little bit like life and death with that, got a big cut and just about scraped across the line, people was like, saying, he's done. And then all of a sudden he's had two great kind of wins, or we got a draw and then a win against Deontay Wilder, and he's been resurrected. So boxing's quite, an indifferent sport where, one day you're the highlight, one day you're the on the blind side. But look, Dillian, they're rivals. Dillian's never going to say anything, too complimentary, and I'm sure Tyson Fury is never going to either do the same either. So it's going to be difficult. Tyson Fury wants to fight AJ. You know what I mean? Maybe he looked at it and he thought, there isn't anything for me to be scared or concerned. And I get it. I can look at it and say to myself, okay, was there anything there which Tyson Fury could be concerned about? Oh, look, what I would say is this. We saw a different AJ to the gun-hole AJ that used to go out there and be on the front for another 50-50 shootout. He's not really doing that anymore. He's thinking a lot more, and he's picking shot selections, and he's boxing at his tempo so he can last the 12 rounds as well, which is a smart thing also. You know what I mean? It's a smart thing also because, you know what I mean? It's about lasting the distance and picking the shots. It's not about a shootout. You got to be smart and box. He was jabbing to the body well. He was jabbing, light jabbing, and then sharp jabs to the head, sharp jabs to the body. So he was doing things, and listen. The jab is the most important thing. As we've looked over the last 3 weeks, we've seen Joe Joyce and Dubois, the jab, Yard and Lyndon Arthur, the jab. The jab has been the most underrated thing in boxing for a very, very long time. And some people forget that weapon there, you know what I mean? And everyone forgets and talks about many other shots, but the jab is the thing that lines up everything else. Distance control, jab, stepping off. And he was doing that quite a bit as well, you know what I mean? He was jabbing, stepping off, having a look, moving. Like I said, he looked like he was trying out a few things. Nothing wrong with that. I suppose that's the fight to try it out. You don't want a guy in there with the likes of Fury trying stuff you're not used to and then getting yourself clobbered. You know what I mean? So, when he does get in there with someone like Fury, I feel like he'll have a game plan and he'll adapt. He'll adapt on the fight. You know what I mean? But look, Tyson Fury's a big old lump. He's like 6'10" or whatever he is, 6'11". He's got a big old body. And as we saw yesterday, Joshua was using that jab to the stomach quite well. Jab to the head, jab to the stomach. He's using it well. So those are the kind of shots you want to use against a big man. Tyson Fury is very elusive to the head. So that jab to the body and doing that is probably going to be key. Jabbing to the head, jabbing to the body, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? You don't want to try and get in a head hunting match with him because you end up going to be missing and getting countered with something horrible. You know what I mean? But listen, I think everyone's looking forward to seeing that. And then obviously everyone's looking forward to seeing Dillian and the Povetkin rematch, and then we'll know exactly where Dillian's at as well. Also, once that's done, the spectrum is wide and big, and you know what I mean. But we've got, Dillian's got to take that one fight at first, and then kind of get past that, and then look at the table, what's out there. You know what I mean? There's big fights out there in 2021 for all the top heavyweights at the minute.
You talk about Dillian, and just finally, Dean, before I let you go, I can't help but notice that you mentioned they might have to put other names on the table. I know last night he sort of showed his frustration at the fact that Povetkin, even after having COVID, wasn't ready and said, he's a fit athlete, why can't he be ready in time, etc. But regardless of that, if you have got to put other names on the table, could you enlighten us to some of those names if possible, or is that not something we can make public at the moment?
No, definitely.
You know what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, you're good, But unfortunately, I can't give you any information, my friend. But I bid you a good night, and the rest of the fans. Hope you guys had a good weekend, enjoyed the fight. But yeah, no, there's nothing I can let you know until him and the guys have, you know, kind of opened up about, you know, who they're planning on fighting. If that fight doesn't make it, yeah, I won't be able to talk on that note. You know what I mean? So we have to see. That's all we can do.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.